going on, everybody? My name is Jamie Cheerio, and I'm here with the founder of Liberty Networking, Mr. Jimmy Sorrells. How we doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Liberty Lounge podcast. We couldn't be more excited to have our special guest, Miss Liz Dwyer, here on the podcast. Jimmy, tell us a little bit about Liberty Networking and what we believe.
So Liberty Networking is an in-person network organization for Patriot entrepreneurs and professional salespeople. And it's designed in a way to bring like-minded people together to help grow your business through referrals and word of mouth. So our core values are liberty and integrity, and our core focus is building authentic, long-term relationships.
Incredible. And the purpose of this podcast is to get a chance to interview the different members of Liberty Networking to hear a little bit about their business, their story, and their tips and tricks on how you can get the most out of how to be a part of a networking group. So without further ado, I'm excited to announce our special guest, Miss Liz Dwyer. How we doing, Liz?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. So you have your own, health and wellness shop, We the Patriots, and you are also the growth coordinator for Liberty Networking. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about how did we get here? I know you are not originally from Greenville, South Carolina, correct?
That's right. This is the first place I got to choose where I could live, meaning my home, the area, the people, and I come from New York. Or I like to say I escaped from New York. But I raised my family up there. My story, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always been a business owner. And the early days, I was very shy. And so I was a graphic designer. That was my first business that I owned. And it went well. I worked behind a computer, started having my kids, and was at home. That was important to me. From there, I actually also ran a lawn care business. And so I did a lot of things on the computer. I love computers, but I love people more.
Okay.
So I was missing something in my life. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So talk to us about your current business. What are you currently doing today?
So within that time frame, I found a company that checked all the boxes off. My son had eczema as a baby. He had asthma. He was only a couple months old. And I just liked safe, natural products in the home. And so I found this store, and at that time, you shopped off a catalog. This is a long time ago. Yep. I was told if you talk to people, you get a check, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I said, I like what I'm doing. Anyway, it planted some seeds, and as I grew and kind of learned more about the products and how safe and better they are for people, I started to talk to people. And then 9/11 hit and destroyed my graphic business. I needed a solution quick to get home and stay home. My son could not go into a daycare. And so I actually started to refer people to this store, and it changed my life. It grew me out of my shell. I found networking pretty quickly. I actually got to help people and empower others, and lift up, which I love to do. I love to collaborate. I love to help people in their business, help people in their lives. And we started solving problems. And then with finding networking, I started to build relationships and referral type business. And that's the best kind, because someone's recommending you to something that they are passionate about, or they care about, or they know someone that has a passion. Like if I meet someone who's a record collector, I know I'm going to introduce them to Jimmy right away, because I know little pieces about Jimmy that actually maybe others wouldn't. And so if you can create a common friendship or a common interest, you create a relationship between two people. So I am like a matchmaker in business. I like to make connections and introductions and meet with people and find out what do they need in their business? What do they need in their life? And do I have someone in my toolkit or my back pocket that I can put them together? Or I often am saying, I got someone to introduce you to right now.
Solving problems through making connections. Mm-hmm. I love it.
So obviously it took a little bit of time for you to learn how to network. A little bit on the journey, you obviously, figured out quite a bit to figure out, what was your niche and the thing that you wanted to help people with. What are some, major lessons that you've maybe learned, some struggles that you've overcome, and just, breakthroughs you've maybe had?
There's been quite a few, because for myself, I was very shy. I only worked with one or two people in my prior business, and I was afraid to even make a phone call to say, hey, we're coming to put a lawn application down on your yard or something like that. It just scared me. I don't know why. I think a lot of people can relate to that. So how did I get out of that? I just took the next step forward. By belonging to a networking group that's caring and people are supportive, makes all the difference. So Liberty Networking is a phenomenal organization because you can actually come, you can visit. I call it an abundance mentality, because you can visit any of the chapters. Become a member of your home chapter. Be the best member there. Support members, do RBMs, which are relationship building meetings with each other, and get to know one another. And do more than one. You know, set up one and then a couple weeks later do another one, because there's always follow-up, right? Fortune's in the follow-up. So if you don't keep building that relationship, well, then nothing's going to happen. So getting over that hurdle with a good networking organization gave me opportunity to learn how to talk in front of people about my business, about who I am, and about how to help others. And so it was just kind of you practice, and people are like, you're good at that.
Yeah.
Right? And you just keep getting better, sharpening the saw.
I think there's a lot of people out there that they're shy. And at the end of the day, being shy in business is costing you a lot of money. I mean, at the end of the day, and you have to overcome that. And if you don't tell people about your business, nobody else will. Nobody's going to advocate for you. So if there's someone out there who's maybe just really shy, they're joining a networking group for the first time, what advice would you maybe have for them?
Smile.
It's a big one.
That is a big one. And be interested in what they're doing. Ask questions. Don't overbear with the questions, but just ask questions about, like, what was your journey? How did you get to be where you are? I love hearing people's story. That's why we start this out that way, right? People need to relate to who they are. Ask them what their goals are. If you just joined this Liberty Networking, what do you want to get out of it? Ask them that, and then brainstorm. I love it because it's collaboration. We got together the other day with several of us, and the feedback I got from another member was, this was great. She really got to experience other ways of thinking about networking. And so when you bring more than two people together, it is even more. We call that like working like in a team or a collaboration. And so if there are several people in your network that you can relate to, like same customer base, maybe in the same industry, but all doing different things that pertain to that customer, get together once a month, twice a month, and take an hour and find out what projects people are working on and what we could do to help solve those for each other.
What about mentors or personal development? Like, what have you done to, like, actually grow yourself? Has there been people in your corner that have helped grow you? Did they point you towards books, resources, podcasts, YouTube videos? How did you grow yourself?
So that's a good one. The two things that stand out the most to me, one is I read a lot of leadership books, especially when I was just getting started, and I loved it because I was trying to figure out people, right? A lot of times it's those color codes, like They're a white or
yeah. There's a lot of different personality tests.
Yes, and I was very lacking in a couple of those. So for me, I made it a goal to get more broad, so that I could relate to more people. And I love that. I spent a long time really figuring out those color codes, and then figuring out what other people were, trained about it, talked about it. And so now it becomes more intuitive, right? So it's something that's in your toolkit. That stands out to me a lot, was really just sharpening a saw and getting to know, like, leadership styles, how to be a good leader in the middle, right? It's, working with people that are kind of higher up than you, and also people bringing them up to where you are. And so raising your own bar, but also pulling up others with you. Again, that's an empowerment idea. The other is I have a phenomenal mentor, and she's retired now, but she was someone that was very wise in networking. She'd been in business a long time. She was not in a career she was super passionate about, but she was passionate about being a connector. And her title, VP of Strategic Connections.
Oh, nice.
Love that. That was her business card. Nothing to do with what she does, but what she does is at the end of any meeting she has with someone, she wants to be their Excedrin. Meaning she'll say, Jimmy, okay, so all things aside of what we talked about today, is there anything going on that you need help with in your life or your business?
That's good. Yeah. I like to tell people anything you need, I'm going to help you fix that, that problem, solve that problem.
Exactly. And then you have in your network people that you can call on. So one of the beautiful things about having a great network behind you is that you have good people to refer out to.
Yes.
And that's a reflection on yourself. So if I go to Jimmy and say, I got this problem, because I know he's a problem solver and he knows a lot of people, I know he's going to hand me somebody that's good. And then you do this. You pick up the phone and you say, well, Jimmy, may I make a connection for you? And Jimmy says, sure.
Absolutely.
Pick up the phone and call that person immediately. So this comes down to what's a great tip, right?
Yeah.
On being a good networker or being a good communicator. Make sure you have all the people that's in your network in your phone.
Yeah.
And if you see someone in your network calling you, they might be bringing you your next amazing customer or amazing referral partner. So pick the phone up.
That's
good.
Good.
Fact. I love that.
What are maybe 2 books that you would recommend when you got started?
Let's see. I like the 360-Degree Leader
Okay.
by John Maxwell.
John Maxwell, yep.
And another one. It's been a while since I picked up my books. I need to get back into
anything
reading.
John Maxwell is just incredible. The 5 levels of leadership is probably my favorite one. And anybody who's never heard the 5 levels of leadership, I would highly recommend that one.
There's a training called, I think I pulled it out of one of the John Maxwell, and it's where you fall into a hole. And I trained on that one a lot. I love that because we repeat our mistakes, right? And how do you get out of a rut? Well, the whole theory is like you learn how you fall in that hole. You're walking down the street and you fall in that hole. So this might be a problem in your business. And you fall in the hole, and it takes you a long time to get out of that hole because you just don't know how yet. You don't have all the skills and the tips to do it, or maybe you don't have the people behind you, right? But you get out of the hole, and you walk down again, you fall in the hole again. You get out a little faster this time. And then the third time you fall in the hole, you get right out. The next time you walk down a different street.
That's good.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Because we all have those holes
for
in
sure.
our life, in our business, right?
Yes.
We're always working on something.
Yeah, I've heard it a different way. The whole fall down 7 times, get up 8, but quit tripping over the same stick. Like you got to step over it at some point.
That's a much faster way to say that, Jamie. I like that.
Okay, so I want to get back to you leaving New York. So I think that's kind of like a political buzz topic. I left Oregon, escaped Oregon, like you said, to come here to South Carolina. What was going on? You don't have to go too deep, but what was going on that made you want to find somewhere else to be?
And also, you were in upstate New York, so it's not like you were in the city, right? So.
Right. And I enjoyed going down to the city often. I don't think the city will ever be the same.
Sure.
There's so much that has changed there. I lived and I raised my family in New York, and I love the Adirondacks, mountains and lakes, and just there are some favorite things there. And my entire family's up there. So mind you, me leaving New York was really hard. Well, having Gerald in my life, we made it easy. And it was actually the goal we put out to do 2 years ago. And he was sitting in a hospital bed, and he said, Liz, we're going south, and we're going to work your business. And I'm like, can we just, make sure you get a heart? He's a full heart transplant recipient. So we have a whole heart story behind there, besides a love story. But the things that were going on in New York at that time, people felt stuck. They were very divided. They were angry. I felt like we weren't moving forward. In the community, I was running a lot of online networking. A couple different groups. I was very, very busy. My business was jumping everywhere. It was going great. We actually solve a lot of problems because of the way the economy is, and also with things like natural safe products, especially like cleaners, and a natural disinfectant. That actually does work. So we were very popular. So I was so busy that I couldn't turn around. But people were depressed. They were getting paid to stay home. And then when we started to get back out, it wasn't the same. People were like, I call it the 2D version versus the 3D version.
Oh, man. That's good.
It's like, whoa, you're actually like in physical form.
Yeah.
And I'm an energy person, meaning I pick up on people's energy and how they feel. And so I can do that on camera or on a Zoom, and I can do that in person. And people actually do better in person for that piece.
Sure.
So what drove me out of New York was I had someone to go with. And we took a vacation down to Myrtle Beach. We made it a goal. And in 3 months, we made our decision. We tried out different areas in South Carolina. It's a beautiful state. We liked the people. We liked the political arena. We could not speak our mind at all in New York without getting in major trouble. So coming down here was like a breath of fresh air. And when I stepped into Greenville, 15 minutes here, I said to Gerald, I'm like, I can live here. The people are great. And then when we started transacting, like just going to the store, people talk to you.
Yeah, that was probably the most surprising thing for me when my wife and I came here and had a real estate agent. We come here and it was like everywhere you went, and almost to a detriment. You know, you get stopped by someone who asks you questions and you can't get out of the grocery store for 45 minutes, but we loved it. And then what was so crazy is we took our flight back to Oregon, and as soon as we landed back in that Portland airport, it was like everybody was in their own little bubble to themselves. We were trying to like have that like, you know, same personality that we had when we were in South Carolina, and everyone just kind of turned their nose down at us. Like, I don't want to interact with anybody. So we were so, you know, surprised and taken back by just how welcoming people are here. The Southern hospitality is real.
I'm so thankful both of y'all chose God's country.
Hey,
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Anything else that you are passionate about that's going on in the world that you want to bring awareness to?
So 2 things on that one. One, I love helping people just bring hope, hope to them. And a lot of people are hurting right now. They're afraid. It's obviously an election year. There's so much going on. But that doesn't mean day to day we can't all kind of combine together and make things happen. So I always love to just reach out and, touch someone, you could say, but have a conversation with someone and just, how you doing? Just check in on them. So we can also help them to solve some of their problems. So again, I'm a problem solver, so I'd love to connect with people about that. The second piece is I'm very passionate about nonprofits. And there's a couple right now in our life down here in Greenville that have come to me. One is Vets Helping Vets. We are doing a fundraiser on Tuesday night over at Spare Time. That's going to be awesome. I know this podcast will come out way after that happens, but that's an ongoing organization that is just helping local veterans get their needs solved.
Yeah, and they're a member of Liberty Networking as well.
Yes, they are, and that's was part of Gerald brought the Vets Helping Vets into the Liberty Networking.
Absolutely.
And then he has found a passion, so have I, in helping support that organization. And it's growing, which I love to see organizations successful. The other one is the heart. So I'm working on a campaign right now called Go Red for Women, and it's helping raise funds for American Heart Association, but it also brings awareness. Heart disease is the #1 killer for both men and women. Women often don't realize that. I think men know that, but women don't. And the signs are just, we ignore them. There's a lot of just easy things to know. If you're feeling run down more than a couple of weeks and you're like, oh, if I just get back to the gym, I'll feel better. Or, you're just dragging, or you're fuzzy in your head. And those are actually signs that you need to get checked out. That sounds kind of funny, but rapid weight gain. For women, it might be things like jaw pain or anywhere in the body type of pain, digestive issues, really just feeling just off for a period of time. And this is the biggest, if you're doing an activity that you used to be able to just do, and you would breathe fine, your heart rate's fine, but if you find just like walking up a flight of steps or doing something physical and you're out of breath and really just, dying after 2 minutes, that's a sign of something going on, but potentially with your heart. It could be other things too. It could be like a vitamin B12 deficiency, but go get checked out.
Sure.
That's good.
What is something interesting about Liz that somebody listening to this may not know about you?
So this is my favorite. So when I was in kindergarten, the teacher called my mom and said, yeah, I wasn't in trouble, but called my mom and said, I think there's something wrong with your daughter. This was about 4 months into kindergarten. And she said, well, what's wrong with Elizabeth? That's my real name. And the lady goes, she hasn't talked to anybody since she got here. So no one would believe that one. And my mom's like, what? That's not my daughter. Because I talked her ear off all day long at home.
Right.
But it turned out I had a lisp.
Oh.
And it's still there. I had a lisp.
Yeah.
And when I spoke, people had a hard time understanding me. And there wasn't resources back those days when I was growing up and to actually identify that and get me help. So what happened is I became very shy. I got labeled shy. I don't think I'm shy. I got labeled shy, though, and I stopped raising my hand. I stopped talking to people because people couldn't understand me. And they would always ask, like, what I was mumbling. So it's kind of an interesting thing. If you're a parent and you have a kid that is having trouble talking, you might understand them. But if they're talking in a lower tone, if they're not communicating, get the help that they need. My daughter had the exact same issue.
Oh, wow.
But we identified it at the age of 3. So she got the help she needed, and she's awesome. I mean, she can hold her own anywhere.
That's good. That's good.
I love it. Okay, let's transition here a little bit into Liberty Networking specific. So obviously Liberty Networking, as a networking organization, what do you believe that somebody can get out of it? I mean, there's a lot of people who are watching this and they're saying, I'm trying to decide if it's worth it to be a part of a networking group in general, but then also why Liberty Networking?
I love that question, Jamie. That's awesome. And so when we came to Greenville, South Carolina, Gerald and I put him on the task. I'm like, okay, because he'd never networked before. He diesel mechanic, worked under vehicles.
Well, he's come along quite fine. So
he sure has. I'm very proud of him. And so when I came down here, we kind of set some ground rules. I'm like, well, where are we going to go to network? And he goes, well, we're going to go to bingo and church. And I looked at him and I'm like, are you nuts? No, we can do that, but that's not where we're going to go build our business. So, and network and build relationships. Build friendships in those. So we did both of those actually very quickly, thanks to Gerald. And we met a lot of great people through those organizations. But we needed to find a home, right, where we could actually add value to the other members, but also they could add value to us. And we looked on, Gerald looked. He looked on Eventbrite. He looked on Meetup. He looked on Facebook. And would type in, any event. So we started to go to socials. Number one, we started going to the Liberty Social. An amazing event, brings in people from both the membership of Liberty Networking, but it also brings in people outside of the network, right? And we started to do RBMs, or relationship building meetings, with people we were meeting at those socials. We also went to other organizations to test them out. Found some really great ones. There's really a lot of wonderful networking in this area.
There's a lot.
There is. And I knew specifically, being someone from networking and building, I've actually launched many different chapters. I've actually been in leadership of networking groups. They're all still going today. It's pretty wild, the ones I had touch with. And I was in the same one for 20 years.
Wow.
So I had a lot of longevity, a lot of skills in that arena, but I knew what I was looking for, and I knew what I wasn't looking for.
That's important.
Yeah, I wanted abundance. I do like the idea of having one business per category. I think eliminating the feel of competition is very helpful, especially if people are just entering in. You want to be able to form those bonds with your other members. And then why Liberty? The price tag's great. It's affordable, and you can get value out. Hopefully, just one shopper in my world, but one customer will more than pay for probably 1 year. Some people, like if you're in mortgages, you could get one deal and probably pay for 3 or 4 years of your membership. So there's always a value. And then what I liked about Liberty was it had the socials, and they've supported a nonprofit at each one of those. So it had that opportunity. Now, anybody can go to those, but to be able to help organize them is even more fun, because, again, that's collaboration.
Sure.
But the other is you can be a member of your home chapter, and you're encouraged to go visit other chapters. That, I've never seen that in other networking groups. And that doesn't mean if you're in the same business as somebody as a member in there, you're not going to go step on their toes. You're going to be polite and you're going to do a pass. Name who you are, right? But be supportive. Give a testimony for somebody in there. Make an introduction or a referral to someone. You can still go and network and build relationships.
Yeah. How can you be the best member of your group as possible? Like, how can you help your group grow? I know you're the growth specialist. So, like, what can the individual person who's already a member do to be the best member of their group?
Well, Jimmy and I have been talking about that a lot.
Yes.
You know, because we're working on launching more chapters for Liberty Networking, and we're also grabbing hold of a few that want help to grow their membership. Let's say from 10 members to say 20 or more. Right? There's a value in having more members in your chapter. Anything over 15 is very helpful. Anything under 15, you probably have people that need more help. Right?
What is the reason why that's valuable? Either of y'all can answer that.
Well, what did you do when you first joined a networking group, Jimmy?
Well, I made doing RBMs, the one-to-ones, as other people may know them. That was my job. So, yes, I was selling merchant services from other business, but I made that my job, and I did more than anybody in the chapter I was involved in. And I got to know people and understand how their business worked and know about their families, and that's how I started building the relationship. So so the meetings are great. You get to see everybody twice a month, but ultimately those are for the guests. The RBMs where the magic happens.
Mm-hmm. And what was the value of getting over 10, 15, 20 members?
Well, that's it. Just the dynamics change. You have more people that you can refer to. Depending on the industries in there, some are going to get a lot more referrals. Like if you got 4 or 5 home services as a power team or whatever you want to call it, they're going to get a lot more referrals on a regular basis. But by building relationships with the other people, that's where the power comes in, because you can still give them referrals. It may not be as often, but you're still looking to give them referrals and connections. It's never realistic to think you're going to do business with every single person in a chapter, but the power of being a member in a chapter is that each one of those people know an average of about 300 people. And so when you build those relationships and you do the RBMs, it keeps you top of mind. And then whenever they know somebody needs your goods or services, they're more likely to refer you.
Any thoughts on that, Liz?
Yeah, that's it's powerful to have 25 members. That's when I've seen the most success. It about triples or quadruples the amount of referrals from if you're only 10 members. So how do you grow a chapter, right? How do you grow your network? So how do you be the best member, right? That was one of your questions there, Jamie. So one is always be inviting. Always invite people to your chapter, but also other chapters. So if you go visit somebody else's chapter, and Gerald and I put that on the schedule pretty regularly. We just do that as a business practice because we reconnect with people we know, we meet new people, and we try to bring someone with us, like somebody who's not ever been to a Liberty Networking meeting. We'll bring them with us and bring them to that chapter, potentially to become a new member in that chapter.
So you get a lot of value out of visiting other chapters?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you're talking about asking her about adding value. She has many years of networking experience, like she said, launched a lot of chapters. So I just appreciate you coming on board with Liberty Networking as a growth specialist. And she is working specifically with certain chapters to help them to grow, as well as launching new chapters. We're making lots of good improvements, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, what are some things that anybody in Liberty Networking, if they want to grow, I mean, you said like you're the professional connector. So if they're looking for a connection, if they're trying to grow their group, what are some things that they could sit down for an RBM with you and discuss? Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I like to ask them is, how are you doing in your network? Like, is it actually bringing you customers or referral partners? I talk about referral partners a lot because you can bring someone one referral or one customer, but you bring them a referral partner, meaning someone that actually can feed them all day long, all year long. You've just made an amazing connection for their business. And I love putting 2 people together and then hearing like 3 months later, Liz, I'm so glad you introduced me to so-and-so. And I'm like, I did that. I'm on autopilot with that now. And but I love that just sails my day when I know I've made a good business match, right?
Yeah.
Don't ask me to get someone connected for the romantic side. Forget that. Don't ever ask me for that one.
So a good business connection, though, is usually two people that share common interest, or is it common customers?
Could be both. Could be both, because let's say there's someone that like to, I go to a lot of like spiritual things, right? So I love to connect with people that are more spiritual worlds and art. Not everybody, that's not always everybody's cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
So I say to people, I want to be connected to people that are art, fitness, spiritual, and if they smile and they want to grow their network.
Yeah.
So I love to grab hold of people that don't know how to network yet, and I'll take them, because that's what the lady that was my mentor, she grabbed me, took me to a chamber meeting, and I was afraid of chamber meetings. And she was my wing woman, and we would actually, she taught me how to go around the room, meet people, but then we both knew each other's businesses really well. So the key was we would bring back some of the folks, and our objective was always to bring them into our network.
But you had to build that relationship to know each other's business as well. So it can be a common interest, but it can also be a same target market or audience and customers.
So anybody that you, I partner with a woman named Kathy. She's got a travel business. I love Kathy. And she and I become friends. Well, we go and we'll walk a trade show together. We're in different businesses, but we also can be each other's wing woman, right?
Sure.
Yeah, you can edify each other.
Yes, and it's more fun. Then you're doing things together. You're not, and it's really boring if I just walk up to.
Right.
But if we do it together, we can interject for each other. So I do a lot of that. I like to find people. You don't need to find everybody. You just need to find a couple of people in your network that you like to refer to, you like spending time with, and vice versa. And then, and be a good inviter.
So that's a really good tip for socials too. Take somebody with you, especially if you're shy or introverted. I think probably 60% or more people in networking organizations are introverted. So if you don't know anybody and you're going to a social, take somebody who does know people, and y'all can help each other out. And you're not there to meet everybody at the social, right? Try to make 3 good contacts or 5 good contacts. Go with a goal in mind.
Yes, that's my objective, is to make 3 or 5 valuable connections.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We'd love to just give you a chance to plug yourself a little bit. If anybody on here, anything you've said resonates with them, whether it's shopping for clean products or the ability to have an opportunity to make money, or they just really want to connect on the networking side of things and get some tips, how can they connect with you?
I'm easy to talk with, so you can find me through Liberty Networking, one area. You can give me a text or a call at 518-421-9885. I welcome to meet new people, and I would love to connect with people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz, for coming in. Thanks, Jimmy, for helping us host the podcast. Everybody, next time we will continue to host more members of Liberty Networking and continue to help you guys get more tips on how to grow your network and continue to have great conversations. So we hope everyone has an amazing day, and we'll talk to you next time.